guys, it's time for Breakthrough with Coach Lou. Coming to you live from Studio 700 at Revitalize Life Fitness and Life Coaching. Coach Lou will help you break through anything that's stopping you. Are you ready to get the body, the energy, and success you deserve? With no further ado, here's Coach Lou.
Hey guys, Coach Lou here. I want to talk to you today about something really important. And the title of this post today was, Oh My. The word my has a major impact on meaning, etc. in the grand scheme of things. So let's review a second. We have gone over why, the power of why, correct? The power of why is what drives you, what pushes you, the reasoning behind what you do, right? So that's our power of why. And we look at this and go, okay, if the power of why is this major driver in why we do things, why do we step up for our children? Why do we go into business? Why do we go into relationships? Because there's reasons, and that's where the power of why comes in so strong in so many ways. So what does this magic word of my, M-Y, stand for in this grand scheme of Coach Lou's great ways of putting things into perspective so that they're usable, right? So my can be a great thing, or it can be absolutely horrific. My is heavily linked to addiction. When you hear somebody refer to something as my cigarettes, my beer, my problem, my addiction, my disease, my coffee, my wife, in a way where it's a possessive situation, that generally is a sign of an addiction. Case in point would be the person who says to me coming in to train or to get fit or for some life coaching that says, oh, I'm all in, but I don't want to give up my beer. We have a problem. There's a challenge there. As opposed to the person who refers to it as, I do like to have a beer occasionally. Well, what is the difference there? Just let's dissect that for a second. I don't want to give up my beer. That's a possessive, that's a piece of them. Like, I don't want to give up my right arm. I don't want to give up my right arm, but I could give a shit less about a beer. Doesn't mean I might not ever have one, but I don't feel the same way about a beer as I do my right arm. Some people do, or a drug, or whatever the case is. When it's a strong connection, that's an addiction when the word my is used. So same thing with coffee. I tend to refer interchangeably when it comes to coffee, where I'll tell somebody I enjoy my coffee in the morning. Make sure it's organic, and I know we're going to hear this 101 times if you haven't heard it from me before. Make sure it's organic, low-acid coffee. Or I might say, sure, I enjoy a cup of coffee in the morning, or I enjoy an occasional cup of coffee. The day I go, I can't live without my coffee, or I can't function without my coffee, which is probably not 100% true, but people who have a caffeine addiction, who are heavily caffeinated all day, will get some physical symptoms from leaving off, or cutting down on coffee. But the point there being is, I might say that, I love my coffee in the morning, but I'm not saying I gotta have my coffee in the morning. Do you see the difference in physiology? I have to have my coffee in the morning as opposed to, I like my coffee in the morning. Is a whole difference. But when you're listening to somebody speak about something, if the my is very intense, that is an addiction. So this applies heavily in negative addictions, where somebody might not come right out and say, my heroin, but they commonly may refer to it as my addiction, my disease, my problem. They might not use the word of what they're addicted to, but this is especially useful to recognizing a drug addiction or an alcohol addiction or something like that. that they, again, refer to it as my. They may not use the exact word because it's embarrassing. So can problems, by the way, can having problems be an addiction? Oh, absolutely. Some people are so addicted to drama and problems and everything else. Oh, you think you got it bad? Well, let me tell you about my problem. That's an addiction. Where somebody might say, I'm having a little challenge today. Let me tell you about my problem. You see the difference there. And this is going to be a quick, brief training video. I just want you to learn how to spot this so that you understand what you're looking at, or when you're talking to somebody in a situation where you might have to go, hey, there could be an addictive situation here. So does this mean that this my thing is always bad? Not at all, as it relates to owning your responsibilities, your own motivation, your effort, your own role in your relationships. It's better to refer to your spouse as, my loving wife or my loving husband, rather than that old man or that old lady. Obviously, but it's when somebody feels that they own somebody. That's when it can be dangerous, when they, you're mine, my kids. Don't get near my wife. Don't look at my wife. When you start hearing stuff like that, what are you looking at my wife for? You can tend to see a possessive type of situation. By the way, that's not only guys. That goes on both ends of the street there. But just saying it, that feeling of ownership of another person or of your pet, your children, whatever, as opposed to mine in my heart, not as my possession. You with me on this, guys? Awesome. So if we look at the power of why and use the examples of how it motivates you for finding your reasons, then the power of mind can be motivating and owning your reasons, actions, and behaviors, rather than the feeling like you own your spouse, your kid, your cat, your dog, your lizard, whatever the case may be. Owning your role in the motivation it gives you is important. So think of it this way. In essence, you own your role as a dad or a mom. You know that you would always put your kids' safety or even their lives ahead of you, as opposed to when you feel like you own your kids, you feel like you can control their lives, as in the case of when you don't like their spouse, for example. Let's use that as an example, because that's a very common one. Where a parent doesn't like their kid's spouse, and they're always trying to poison that relationship or want them out of that relationship, because they still feel like they own their kids, and they make it, really clear that you should submit control to them because they own you as their parent, as opposed to being the parent that loves you and wants to, help you and guide you, or would put their own lives on the line for you. That's the my child, I would die for my child, as opposed to the mother-in-law or father-in-law from hell scenario. So my can be a sign of addiction or a sign of owning your own actions and being. Which do you gravitate towards most? Do you not want to give up my soda because, you've got that emotional addiction? Or do you say, hey, I'm going to take care of my kids no matter what. I'm going to make my business grow no matter what. You're owning it. I made my mistake. Now I'm going to use it to create something to help somebody else not make that mistake, as opposed to, this is my addiction, the addiction to my problem, as opposed to, I take my responsibility and the challenges that I've had, and it's time to step up. It's my time to do that. You're owning an action, not owning an addiction, if this makes sense to you. So here's the deal. Whenever you hear somebody refer to something that is not positive for them, not good for them, as you can be assured that there is an addiction attached there at some level. Not all addiction is bad. For instance, maybe I'll tell you, nothing's going to get in my way of getting my workout in today. I am going to get my workout in. Yeah, it's an addiction. I love it. I mean, I wouldn't, kill over my workout. I wouldn't steal to have money to go to the gym. Like some people in addictive situations, where they'd steal from their own mother to do drugs. That's deplorable, disgusting. But for somebody to say, you know what? No, I'm not taking one more meeting today because I need my time at the gym to take care of my body and my needs so that I can take care of my family better. That is a different story. You see where I'm going with that? There's owning your actions that are yours. There's owning your beliefs that are yours. Then there's, I got to have my drug, or I got to have my beer, or I got to have my cigarettes, which is addictive. So my can be a really great thing, or it can be a really horrendous thing. So in summary here, because I'm going to keep this one brief for you. In summary here, what we're talking about is listening to somebody's dialogue will quickly uncover for you their stopping blocks and their deepest motivations. Listening and understanding your own internal dialogue will give you the insight into yourself. So whenever you reach for my, realize that it is a combination of me, or my M for me, and Y for my why. Is it your owning why you're doing something, or is it your owning something that's taking you down in participating in an addiction? Is it a positive, or is it a negative? Is it an addiction as in a negative, or is it a positive because you are taking ownership of you and using it to motivate yourself? So, have we learned something useful today? Give me some comments on this, guys. Please, please, please share this with anybody and anyone you think could use this, which I think would just basically be everybody. Share all of these posts, share all of these lives, all of this stuff with as many people as you can that you think this would be useful if people put some of this into effect. And think about your my's. Write them down. Take a piece of paper, put a line across the top, write my addictions and my greatness, and list on each side, stuff like drugs or caffeine or cigarettes or alcohol or violence or control can go on that left side where you're going, hey, this is addictions. The other side could be I own who I am. I own my energy. I love my workout. And make a list of these things and start to scratch off the things that are the addictive or the negative side of that, and own the stuff that makes you great as to who you are. This is a simple exercise to do. And if you're honest with yourself, it's not a gray or a colorful one. This one's pretty black and white. It is or it isn't. You can use excuses. People can say, well, I'm on heroin because I was abused as a kid. No, I don't think that one cuts it. You could say, I have become a stronger person because I was abused as a kid, and I'm creating a program to help abused kids. Now that is a powerful thing to own. This is my program to help, or this is my excuse for being addicted. You see what I'm saying here? Same idea, same origination, but two different definitions on how you're using that my. So, my wish for you is that you have an outstanding day. You put this to work, you do that quick exercise, you recognize this in yourself, and when you're dealing with other people, whether it's your spouse, your kids, your people at work, the people who work for you, the people you work for, understanding their communication, especially when it comes to this my thing, listen for it and go. Is that an addiction that they have? Is this a ownership of who they are? And figure it out from there, and it's a whole lot easier to interact with people. And it's a whole lot easier to understand yourself when you get this concept. So check out that Power of Why, guys. Check out the show every Monday morning, 7:30 at Facebook /Revitalize Life. We got some great stuff coming up. We do have the Healthy Eating and Lifestyle Seminar in person or via broadcast on September 29th. Let's get it rocking and rolling. That's an awesome half-day seminar. We have another challenge coming up at the gym, an all-inclusive fitness and weight loss challenge. We got a lot of great stuff coming up. Got a lot of great programs that we're developing and working on, and a whole new platform that we're going to release before the end of the year. So live with energy, passion, always live your dreams. Have an amazing day. This is Coach Lou.